So good afternoon, February the 17th, 2014. This is CISG114, Section 1, Web Technology and Life. This is day number 2, the beginning of the second week of the semester. So let's get started. Welcome back, gentlemen and ladies, my dearest students. Welcome back. So if it's your first class in this GE course, well, so be it. I just played you the video of the first class. You can always watch it online under day number 1. Okay, this is week number 1. And under day number 1, you can just click on this link and the YouTube video will be there for you. Okay? Hopefully this could help you understand a bit more about this course. And when I check on the first day questionnaire, okay, this is the first day questionnaire. I got 14 responses. Pretty good. Thank you very much for those of you who did the questionnaire. For those of you who did not do the questionnaire, please complete it before the end of today. I'm going to extend it for one more day. We are supposed to have 24 students. So we got 14 students who did the questionnaire. That means at least 10 more students have not done it. So ask yourself, if you've not done it, come back to this questionnaire, okay? Which is right here. I'm going to adjust the deadline so that you can do it, okay? I'm going to adjust the deadline after this class, okay? So you should have received my teacher's message released yesterday. I'm sorry, this screen is not good enough. You can look at the screen over there. The teacher's message released on February the 16th, day 17. That is the teacher's message this week, okay? So in this teacher's message, I've given you some summary of the ideas that I expect you should have captured after reading the syllabus and going through the online course support environment, okay? If you have not done that, well, take it easy. Just go in and take it one day at a time. But first of all, remember, before you come to class, this is last week, I invite you to do this, okay? So study the general education program stuff on our website, okay, which is provided by the University of Macau. Study the handbook, go through it one. For those of you who have the handbook on your table, each one of you should be able to get one, okay, from the Center for Teaching and Learning Enhancement. But if you do not have one, it's okay, we still have the soft copy here. So what about this week? Okay, remember, at the end of each week, on Saturday, normally I will send out a reminder for work that you should have done during the week. And so if you look at this reminder, which was sent out last Saturday, which is February the 15th, which is basically a summary of what you should have done over the week, okay? And if you have not read it, it's okay. Read it sometime this week, okay? So on every Sunday, you have the teacher's message of the week. On every Saturday, you have the teacher's reminder of what you should have done throughout the week, okay? So this is one way I would like to help you develop in your person what we call self-regulation. And what is meant by self-regulation? Do you remember that I have played you the theme song of this course last time? Do you remember? Not? Okay, I give you a couple minutes to listen to the theme song, except for the two gentlemen. These theme songs are in 2-to-1. So the two gentlemen there, you should get some help from the table members, okay? And the table member must help you to understand the meaning of the theme song. So let's go for it. Remember, there is a message behind this theme song. the two gentlemen are going to give you some extra help, okay? Now, I would like to tell each table, I'm going to give you a very simple task. After listening to this theme song, which is called the theme song for this course, what you are supposed to do based on the ideas in the theme songs, okay? What's the missions for you as a student based on the idea of the theme songs? Now, you may have the discussions on your own. I'm going to give you some time to talk about it in the second half hour, but keep this in mind at this point, okay? So let me start by giving you answers to some of the questions I received over email in the past week. Let me answer the first question. How many pieces of homework do you have to finish in this course in order to get something done? The answer, I already answered last time, we have 3 basic assignments, and we call this learning contract, okay? So what is entailed in each learning contract? That is a very important question. How can you discover what you have to do in each learning contract? Okay, so that you know by the time you need to submit the artifacts for each contract, what you need to prepare. Okay, so let me bring you back to our website here. So if you go to the website for week number 1, particularly when you come to this course support environment, you need to click the link called submissions, because it is on this link which tells you how many submissions you need to make. And based on the 3 learning contracts, you have 3 submissions. The first one is to be done on March 8th, the second one to be done on March the 29th, and the last one is to be done by April the 19th. And of course, beside that, you have a final project, which is equivalent to your final exam, since we don't have any final exam. And the project is called Learning Portfolio, which is to be done or submitted on May 17th. So let's not talk about the portfolio at this point. Let's come back to the 3 learning contracts. So if you want to know what exactly you need to submit or get prepared for each learning contract, you need to click on this link, okay? So when you click on the link of the learning contract here, this will give you a picture on what you need to prepare. First of all, for learning contract number 1, you need to complete at least 1 online journal, okay, from each pair member, or you can just take it from yourself, because you're going to have a pair member. But individually, you need to do it on your own, okay? So you need to submit at least 1 learning journal, which is selected from the 3 or 4 possible learning journals, because on each week you need to complete 1 learning journal on your own, although you do not need to submit them all. So for example, at the end of last week, if you're conscious enough, you should have done something which is called a journal. What is meant by make notes, okay? So you should have the notes for week number 1, we call it a journal. You should have the notes for week number 2 this week, we call it a journal. You should have notes for number 3 next week, and also notes for the week after next week. So the notes you capture on your own after you have read some material in the course, and of course there are some specific requirements, it's going to be put in your journal. So this is the first item you need to submit. The second thing said is 1 completed online discussion forum recording the exchange detail throughout week number 2, week number 3, and week number 4. Okay? So you are going to submit the discussion details in the forum. Actually, each week I give you an online forum, well, for you to discuss with your learning partner and as well as possible member of this class. Right now, the forum is public. Everybody can join. But after this week, when you give me the name of your learning partner, I will give you an extra pair forum. So starting from next week, you will have a pair forum besides the public discussion forum. The pair forum is for the discussion between you and your learning partner. And you need to combine all the discussion detail in the second week, in the third week, in the fourth week, in your discussion forum for something very specific. and you submit the details as it is, okay? You don't need to do anything else except submit the details, okay? And then you need to complete one written report, okay, for both you and your learning partner. That is not individual. This is individual. This is individual. Also with the collaborations with your learning partner. This is a joint report between you and your learning partner, telling us what the two of you have done over this period of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mostly, the first 2 weeks is done individually because we don't have a learning partner yet. But week number 3 and week number 4 are done together with your learning partner based on the topic interest selected for inquiry by the two of you over this 4 weeks. So you need to do some kind of summarize of what you have investigated, what you have captured as the notes in a very simple report form. And there is a guidelines for writing a report here. You click on this link, you will see what is expected of you. And then each one of you need to write a very simple blog, we call it reflective blog, telling us something which is supposed to be final at the end of this period from the notes process through the discussion and now come to the report. So at the end of the report, you should be able to write out something on your own based on your learning in the first week, second week, done individually, in the third week and the fourth week, done together with your learning partner. Something you want to share, okay? And we call it a blog, a reflective blog, look back, okay? Not raw material anymore, but not raw material. The discussion details are intermediate products. The report should be considered as a final product. Now look back on the final product, the report, the intermediate work, which is the discussion forum, and the raw material, which is the notes. You're going to write something on your own, telling us what you've learned in your reflective blog. So your journal, very much raw. Your discussion forum, something in the middle of the processing. The report, very much final at the end of the first learning contract. And then your individual interpretations of your learning, your blog. And then each member needs to write a very simple proposal. It's a very, very simple proposal. What you want to do, give the name of the topic. Name of the topic. Okay? Select the topic. 3 questions about the topic. Sub-questions. Sub-questions. And then 1 simple paragraph, 200 words, about why this topic interests you. And then 3 to 5 individual relevant references which is related to the topic. It could be a newspaper article, it could be a YouTube video, it could be anything from the web, but you have to have the source. And then, if you got some help from your learning partner to come up with your proposal, and your learning partner has got some help from you to come up with his or her learning proposal, you must have some kind of face-to-face discussion. And we want you to put it down as the meeting minutes of your own. So you just have to submit some meeting minutes, maximum 3, minimum 1. If you have 1 meeting, you have 1 meeting minute. If you have 2 meetings, you have 2 meeting minutes. If you have 3 meetings, you have 3 meeting minutes. Okay, between 1 and 4. So these are the artifacts you need to submit in your learning contract number 1. So what is meant by that? It means there is no magic. Okay? You have to start planning to do something from now so as to produce something for this first learning contract, which is due on March the 8th. Okay? Alright? You have to submit your notes in the forms of journal. You have to submit your discussion detail in terms of the written record on the online discussion forum. you have to submit a relatively formal report by the two of you in your peer. You have to submit a refractive essay, which is called a log. So what exactly are the topic you want me to submit? It's really up to you, but you must come back to the reading list on each week. Remember, each week we have a reading list, and under the reading list, we have some questions, okay? For example, this is the reading list for week number 1. We have 2 questions. And as I invited you to do last week, you must select one topic under each question. Okay? You don't need to do all of them. You don't have time to do all. One that interests you. And after you select that particular topic, go through the related topic. For example, if I want to do something on web technology, okay, and if I do something like this one, the second one, Introduction to Web Technology for one-page user. If this happens to be your selections, and you need to discover for us what is here that will interest you. You need to discover from this page some notes. You can organize them yourself. All right? Or not. It's really up to you. All right? So, if you want something else, here, say for example, oh, perhaps I choose this topic, Web 2.0, why? It's why. So okay, come on. This is a form of here, something like this, for comments, all right, on web. Maybe it's a soft link, or maybe it's not. So you got something like this. Then you can tell us, I discovered that when I want to go to a link, here is what I discovered. But I find something interesting here too. So then you go back. Or you want to do something here on information privacy, it's okay. X, Y. So your job here is to choose the topic of your interest in each week's reading list under each of the questions. And then do some study of it. Write some notes, and then share your notes with your learning partner, discuss it with your learning partner, keep the record, and then by the time it's for you to submit the report, you have a topic, your learning partner has a topic, your topic has some material, your learning partner has some material, and your report contains 2 topics. Okay? And of course, there's some kind of processing you need to do. And then at the end of the report, you go back to write something simple, easy to understand for other people, because you're supposed to express it in your blog. And it's an item. Okay? So, question. If you go through the first week, at the end of the week, or better say, after each class, I invite you to do reflections. Okay? And I asked you to do journaling, and I told you, in order to help you to pinpoint what notes you need to extract from your reading, you need to come back to journaling efforts here. There are some guidelines here on what you need to do in your journal. And throughout the semester, this simple guideline must be practiced numerous times. Okay? At least once a week when you do that, when you do the notes. When you select something which is supposed to be your interest, you are doing an observation of the topic. You observe something, so you pick it up. Just pick it, and put it down in your journal and tell where you got it. Observations. After you have picked all the interesting topic from that page of topic, you need to come to the second stage of I, interpretation. Ask the questions. What do those topics mean for me? For this topic. Okay? The question tells you need to do some analysis of the information taken from your material. analysis. What it means is you want to discover some connections of the topics that you have already examined. Put it in a notebook. And the idea is to make sure you understand the issues of the topics. For example, this is information privacy issue. What is it in information privacy that interests you? I'll give you an example. I brought my kid to Hong Kong during the summer holiday. We were excited because we were going to visit the 110th floor in that large building. And so we could take a look at the very good view of the harbor. And then I encountered a very interesting thing. Each one of us need to pay at least $90 to enter the platform. And then, just as I was supposed to pay the $90 for mine and for my kids, which is about $360, I was handed a piece of paper. And the guy said, fill that in. I said, what's that for? It's important to fill that in. And I read it over. They're collecting my private information, where I work, what is my salary, when I was. I said, what the hell? Is this important for me to come to visit the platform? Why should I fill that in? The guy said, I was instructed by my manager in collecting information. I said, you know, you cannot do something like that. I can pay you money, you give me a ticket. Or you don't want my money, I don't want to come to visit. You never forced me to fill that form before my kids and I could get to the platforms. Don't worry, you have to. But as we can tell, no, we were told to do it. If you don't do it, I can call my manager and say, call your manager. They can't give you reasons why you need this information, private information. It's a privacy. It's an intrusion of your privacy during the visit of your activity. So these are the issues. And then the application is, you must know the lessons learned after you analyze the information. And so we say, in the particular area of application, you must try to ask yourself, now that I got the information, now that I know the interpretation, what am I supposed to get out of it? So that you can share with your learning partner at any student in class, you did the topic, you studied it, I got this information, I understand it this way, and this is my lesson, what do you think? And your learning partner is going to go through your thinking, and you do, this is how I think. You should never go back to that visiting tower anymore. This is so intrusive, right? So anything like this is very important sharing. And you need to document your learning by going from step one. You select a topic, get some information from it, interpret what is meant by it, and learn from those meaningful information after the analysis. So OIA, it's an important practice you need to do in order to establish in each one of you the ability to think critically. All right? So this is a very important idea. So at this point, I have answered the question, what is entailed in each learning contract? If you go to look at the artifacts required in the second learning contract, it's very similar, except that in the second learning contract, besides doing the work between two of you, two pairs will come together to do the work, and the two pairs is called a team. And in the third learning contract, two teams will come together. So it will be very exciting. Why do we need that? Because you need input from your fellow students. You need to learn how to get input from your learning partner first, and your pair will learn how to get input from another pair, and then the team will have to learn how to get input from another team too. So you have a lot of chance to communicate among yourself, express yourself, share your thinking, okay? And in the process of doing that, the most important element is you have to be responsible for doing your journaling each week. So it's to produce something for your learning partner to give you comment. And then the two of you in your pair will be able to produce something from another pair to give you comment. And the two of you, the two pairs of you in a team will be able to produce something to get coming from another team. So it's very interesting. All right, so having said that, let's come to week number 2. If you look at week number 2, the game before class, I hope all of you have already read it a little bit, even though you may not be fully prepared. I invite you to do something, okay? The 2 questions for this week is, what is information technology? What is knowledge society? Why are we interested in these 2 questions? Very simple. Look at the theme here. We're in common module number 1. According to the schedule in the syllabus, we have 4 common modules in the GE course in the area of information technology, so knowledge society. We need to get you some information on information technology and knowledge society. That's why we have 2 important questions. And how are we going to help you? Again, just like in the first week, we do inquiry-based learning. But sir, we never got information from you on what is meant by inquiry-based learning. So let's get started. What is meant by inquiry-based learning? Get ready. 2 or 3 minutes interpretations and put it down. I have fewer than 5 minutes to stop my talking. So let's get started. The big idea. Oh, let's try and get some voice out of you. So you see that it's a very interesting thing. Let me just hold this one. Okay, let me try it one more time. Aha. Basic problem for my computer, may I invite you to put some thought, 2 minutes, from your perspective on what is inquiry-based learning, together with the material I showed you for the theme songs. Of course, for the 2 gentlemen there, you may not understand what the theme song is. So the ladies here help you to understand the theme song. And the ladies here will help you to understand the theme song. And then give me a minute to fix the problem. Inquiry-based learning is about questioning. In what way? You see what I'm discovering? You see that? You know what I'm thinking? I'm just asking myself why? What happened? Let me try it one more time. Yes, that's what I'm thinking too. So I'm going to do another one.
Inquiry-based learning.
Okay, that's good. I'm getting some help from ASU students, all right? So actually I want to get some help from some students from England, but there's something wrong with the video. So now, watch.
Name.
You see that? That's the problem. Okay, let me try it one more time.
Inquiry-based learning.
We need to ask questions.
Here we go. One step at a time, like we live in the line. I don't need a friend, I got one on my mind. Sunshine in my brain, make you never want to blame. Radio in my heart, don't be being so strange. Take a look at it, everywhere you've been. Everybody says that you're moving again. I don't want to cry.
Inquiry means to ask within. So what you're trying to do as a teacher is you've got to ask them to look inside themselves for the question, the desire to know something. You start with the desire to know.
Inquiry-based learning is about training students to act just like scholars. We, scholars, frame questions and we answer them. That's just what we're training students to do when they're in an inquiry-based learning environment. In an inquiry-based learning environment, they're acting just like scholars.
It wasn't simply a lecture. They were having to be active in coming up with their own ideas and interpretations. Even if they were wrong, they had to be active in thinking about it rather than just be passive receptors of information.
There's a common misperception about inquiry-based learning, and that somehow inquiry-based learning doesn't involve lecturing. It does. In an inquiry-based learning environment, professors provide content. What's different is that students do something with the content that is very immediate to them. They'll go and apply those concepts and that content to questions that they've designed.
And that's the goal, to liberate the student into being the primary question asker and learner. The idea is to turn students into question askers again.
A lot of times we undermine what children know or what students like us know by not asking them questions, by not asking them to go out in the community, do research. We almost cripple them.
It's more engaging than regular textbook learning. When you actually care about what you're learning, then you remember it in the long term.
Instead, inquiry-based learning enables students to be part of knowledge.
If they don't get a chance to practice asking questions, then how are they ever going to get free? They're going to think they need a classroom or a teacher or a structure their whole lives.
It's important that they understand the knowledge that's in that textbook, but I think it's also important that Appalachian students have an understanding as to how is new knowledge and how are new discoveries made? How did that knowledge get into the textbook to begin with? Maybe even it spurs them on to think about, maybe I can discover something, or maybe I can do a study or create this piece of work that nobody else has done yet.
Don't ask a question you know the answer to. Ask genuine questions and try to pursue an investigation of them with students.
If you want to get teachers to want to do this, they themselves have to be willing to do inquiry. They have to be the inquiry experts. They have to just wonder about everything.
It's quite safe for the teacher just to get up in front like an expert, spout a lot of facts and impress people with how smart they are. It's much harder to reveal your own ignorance in front of a group of people when you're supposed to be the expert.
Then I have to model ignorance and confusion. I can't just model knowing. I have to model exploring.
Imagine accurately what students are interested in so you can make suggestions so you can kind of get them to think in a curious way. And yet still fulfill the requirements of the class.
It's just much more straightforward for all of us if I just tell you. And if that's all I do, it's deadly.
I may do quite a bit of talking in any one class. In another class, they may be working on their own in small groups.
You got to have the common universe that everybody's working in, so everybody's taking the same class. But then students have to somehow
individualize it or instantiate it in reasonably unique ways.
Definitely leave frustrated because, the more you know, the more confused you are.
Like, accept that I'm learning in a different way now.
Students also resist. A lot of students do want to be told. They like to come in and say they're visual learners. I now know what this means. It means put a PowerPoint on the slide and let me copy stuff down.
Students usually come into my class at first, on the first day, thinking that knowledge is all about me, the professor, pouring some knowledge into their heads. And later today, the students will take an exam and prove to me that they've memorized it.
It's really easy for me to hear something, see an example, and retain that, and then be tested over it.
There's set traps for students, like kind of trap students, so you gotta get wary. You're always looking for the teacher trap. People won't engage.
In an inquiry-based learning environment, the setup is completely different. It's about the students acting like scholars. It's about students creating knowledge. It's about empowering students so that they believe, no, not that they believe, that they understand that they can do what scholars do. They don't just have to absorb the opinions of other people.
It's just a lot more open-ended. It's just more fun in general, actually.
I really like the fact that it was more of a conversation instead of being talked at.
It's frustrating at times when you have other teachers that are still trying to do the, old school sense of education, where they're trying to just be like, A, B, and C are on the test, and this is what you need to know, and then you understand the subject. And I've found myself more questioning.
There'll be benefits. If you do it, at the end of the semester, you'll discover you have capacity that you didn't know you had.
I would definitely say I've learned more in this class with inquiry-based learning because I'm forced to hold my knowledge as my own and use it every day as opposed to just the hour that I'm in my class. And I take it everywhere with me.
You need a well-rounded education to be, to integrate into society, but at the same time, you can't just memorize what the teacher tells you and be done with it, because then you'll never integrate into society.
All of our knowledge is grounded in a deep desire to be in community with other people. That, why do we develop knowledge anyway? I mean, I'm just talking about over 10,000 years or something. Why does anybody care about anything? We care about it because we want to be in the world successfully with the people we love.
It applies to so much of my life. It's not just about academia, it's life.
Now, let's get started. Do some experiential learning on IBM. I would like each table, based on your perceptions of this video, telling you what they believe IBL is all about from the professors and from the students. You do it this way. The first minute you spend individually is to put on that piece of paper some of your personal observations on this video about IBL. You use no more than 1 minute. You do not need to put it down as a whole sentence. You can just put down some keywords, some thinking which would need you in helping to explain. So the first minute, you do it this way. In the second and third minute, you take a look at the writing of your table members. Okay? So starting from the fourth minute, I would like you to talk among yourself in your table. And each table, I would like to give you a very simple task, yet it's also very challenging. What do you think of IBM? You need to come up with something of your own. What is meant by IBM? Okay? So it's a 5 minutes exercise. First minutes on your own, second, third, take a look at on your members' material, the fourth and fifth talk, all right? It's very important you got yourself engaged, all right? So you have 1 minute left. In a minute, I'm going to come to your tables and ask the microphone to you. And you can go one after the other. Okay? We'll go from table to table. Congratulations to 10 students in this class. I've just gone through your learning journal and I discovered that you're putting a lot of efforts into it. Thank you very much. You're doing a very good job. Okay, so let's get started. May I invite individual table to help us to understand your interpretations of IBL. So can I start with your table? It's okay. Any one of you. You can, okay, you ready? Not yet, it's okay. Are you ready to share with us something from your perspective? What's the question again? Your interpretations of IBL.
Okay,
Of your take.
just by the definition of the web inquiry,
Okay.
to seek information, to learn. So, if it's inquiry-based learning, that means you ask questions in order to learn something. So you question and probably learn and apply.
Okay. Question, learn, and apply. Okay. Very enlightening. Do you have anything to add? I think so.
Maybe the teacher as a guide.
Teacher's the guide. Okay.
And the student is the one who direct the study.
Okay. So it's something like this. You're trying to tell me something very interesting. It's like a director and the actor's relationships. No? Okay. So who is in charge of the topic first? Yes.
The student.
The students, right? Because yeah, because the students select the topic, right? Yeah. That is very important because we give you the choice, right? So you have to pick your topic, and for me as a teacher, we try to help you to learn from the topic, to choose as much as you can, right? Giving you a path of questioning and then discovering. So that is a very, very good interpretation of it. Thank you. And the two of you have done a good work. So maybe continue a conversation. What about, what do you think? What do you think, inquiry-based learning, from your perspective, tables?
Everything that IBL.
Yes, IBL.
IBL, and it's just like event, but if we just study the content and the lectures from the professor, and this movement is like manufacturers.
Okay. Yeah.
And so in the process to invent something new, we may think a lot in our mind, and I think this process can help us to stable our knowledge.
Okay, this process can help you to stable your knowledge.
Also, just be curious, hunger, and thirsty of studying.
Okay.
And this attitude may help a lot too.
Okay. So may I ask you to try to put a little bit more expressions on it? Is it inquiry-based learning a manufacturing process? You mean it's a mass production process?
And so no, I think that IBL is an inventing process.
Inventing process.
To make something new.
Okay. I think it's reasonable in a sense because a lot of the inventions today are done by people who do a lot of inquiry. So in a sense, it's a process to inventions, right? Okay. So do you have anything to add, the two of you? No? Okay. So thank you very much. Now, forgive me, as of this point, I have not asked for your name because I will give you time in the next class to introduce yourself individually, each one, 2 minutes. So can I invite this table to tell us something about your interpretations of IBL? Thank you.
This kind of learning is encourage students to ask.
Yes.
And instead of just the teacher will ask some basic question, and we will raise our question about the basic concept.
Okay.
Yeah, like our doubts and our feelings of the concept. In yeah, just
Okay, so do you have anything to add as a table partners?
In the IBL, we can come up with our own ideas.
Okay.
And we have to do something about the content and apply the knowledge and be the part of the knowledge.
Oh, that's very interesting. We could be part of the knowledge. So actually, it's a process of creating something new, which is very much of your own.
Yeah, no matter this is correct or wrong.
Right, in a sense. There's no one to judge because this is how you think about something, right? So, Kenneth, do you have anything to add? How do you think about inquiry-based learning? Not for the moment, okay. Anyway, thank you. So, gentlemen, it's your table. So, the ladies, okay, thank you. So, what do you think? Inquiry-based learning?
The point of the IBM is questioning.
Questioning.
Because the video mentioned that knowledge start with desire.
Design, okay.
So we think that we are not only learning the knowledge, but we should know where the knowledge come from and how did they come from.
Okay.
And also the IBM is not focused on knowledge, but also like the experience.
Okay.
To let the student get into the community.
Okay, that's very interesting. Well, I like the ideas that it's very much like so the design, the knowledge. Yes. So how do you start with which knowledge? So because you want to get some knowledge or create some knowledge. So how do we start? It starts from something that interests you, right? So what does it mean in terms of IBO? Students have a choice, right? In the past, teachers, the one who tells you, this is what you need to know. The whole curriculum must be covered. And I'm going to test you on whether you know it in the test or exam. But in the context of IBO, students have more freedom to choose what they want to study. In the process, the teacher will not put a lot of emphasis on content-based reproduction, but students' spontaneous generations of knowledge. It's something like this. Okay, do you have anything to add? Thank you very much. So, can I invite this table to help us to understand more?
I think it can be a good way to education.
Education, okay.
Because the students can know the answers by discovering their own,
Okay.
and they can understanding why the answers better.
Okay. And then?
And I think that IBL is maybe good for some class, but maybe not very good for the other class.
Yes, such as,
Other class learn mathematics and physics, and it's hard to let students to find the answers and wait on their own.
In principle, I definitely agree with you because a lot of educational reforms has to be done. And that's the reason why we have gender education here, because gender education provides some room for us to let you experience that. Okay? And what do you think?
I think that a girl said she shouldn't observe others' opinions. She should hold her self-knowledge. So in IBL, I think students will be more active to hold her self-knowledge.
Oh, it's very good. You're trying to link the context of IBL to our theme last week, active learning. So actually, I very much agree with you because IBL is is a very suitable way to induce active learning from students, right? because it gives students a lot of freedom to choose. But not in any courses you can do it. You have to deliberately design a learning experience to allow students to do it. And in some very professional course, you have to go through the basic first. Okay, if you do not have the basic, we just talk about inquiry. It's something not very solid enough, right? So, for example, if a kid does not even know how to drive a car, and you can ask a kid to imagine and create a vehicle which can send him to anywhere, well, maybe he could do it, but sometimes we need to have some basics. So what's the basic of this course? You remember, as I invite you to think about, we expect that you should be able to read in English, to write in English, and speak in English. But these are the basics. I'm not talking about technology. All the web technology in life involves a lot of technology stuff. But let's go step by step. What do you think? You have 3 OR here. Okay. So what do you think?
I think ideally it's not about question or scenario.
Oh, very good term, scenarios. Okay.
Rather than simply present illustrated batch or rotating a school map or to knowledge.
Okay. Let me try to see if I can guide you into thinking more about scenario. The Chinese philosophers say, tell me and I'm going to forget. Show me, I can understand. Now, if you ask me to teach one another, I could definitely remember all my time. So if you put yourself in the position that you're not just someone who's going to receive something from someone else, but you can use the something to help others to learn better, then you're transforming yourself into someone who can be much more ready for inquiry-based learning. And it's a kind of active learning too. So let me pass the microphone. Thank you very much. To this lady and at this table. Do you have anything to add?
And I think ITM is the best way to develop our knowledge and to learn new things.
Okay.
And I think that IBL can make us to know how to appreciate the opinion of others, sharing our different expressions.
Okay. That's quite sensible and good. Quite very mature interpretations. Okay. Thank you very much. Are you in communications?
No.
No. In which major?
Primary education.
Oh, you're a teacher. That's why you appreciate. Do you have anything to add? No. No? Okay. Do you have anything to add? Okay. Thank you very much. Now, we have just gone through the basic definitions of IBL. Let me just quickly go through something that I want you to put some thoughts into it this week. This is the questions that I posed during the class sections. Is web technology making your life better? Now, I want you to think about these questions and then using the inquiry-based learning that we suggest you to try. The way to think about this is, of course, you can start thinking right now, or you can start thinking after you read this article. It's a very short article, but it presents a different perspective. But let me tell you something about my experience. In today's world, we have seen a lot of the web technology in action. For example, this is a very interesting thing. I personally have not owned something like this yet. Mine is small. But it's an example, not just web technology, but mobile technology. You're using a lot of those devices every day. And when you go home, you go to Facebook and you talk to someone, you send email. No one sends email, sir. Email is old. We don't send email, we use Instagram. Oh, wow, see. You are teaching a lot of good things. But think about this. Today, we have a phenomenon which is called we are alone together. What do you mean? Even though a lot of you sit on the table a lot of the time, but you are alone reading or texting with your device instead of talking to the person next to you. Sometimes it's a phenomenon which is created by technology. And in the context of these gadgets is web technology. I've just given you an example. Another thing I would like you to think of is Have you ever thought of this very interesting question? What is meant by a technology? What is meant by a technology? Is this a technology? Yes. Okay. Is this piece of paper a technology? Yes. Oh, tell me why this paper is a technology. Can you try to relate something I can easily understand that it's a technology? What is it in common between this paper being a technology and this microphone being a technology? Can you tell me? Can you put some thought into this? Yes? Let me see. Let me get you my microphone first.
I think it's a technology because
yes,
it's a human innovation. It was created by a person. It wasn't like found like that. It took, I would say,
it's okay.
Yeah, like a smart mind or somebody who make it. So it's, in a way, it's technology.
Okay, so you're trying to tell us if it's a technology, it has something to do with innovation.
Yes.
It has something to do with expressions of an idea through the human mind in the context of engineering, right?
Yes, yes.
So, do you have any objections here? A piece of paper is actually an engineering product, right? Okay, maybe you want to ask what exactly is engineering. Let's take it as a production, innovative productions, right? So this is also an innovative production, although it's an old technology. But now let's come back. Let's come back. So technology has something to do with innovations. Technology has something to do with an expression of idea. Technology has something to do with the generations of, this is called product. This is called a product. This is called a product. Okay? Even my clothing is a product. Alright, so you know something about technology, except that you might need some terms to use. Okay, so you all are well set to start up the conversations here. Now the question is web technology making your life and my life better? Okay, any disagreement? Yes. What exactly? Give some example of the disagreement. Actually, I gave some in a minute ago. Make the microphone. Please share with us. It's okay. Just anyone. For example. To do something which is not so good for us.
Well, if the provider
something bad, I mean,
No.
something good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we are trying to look for something which is not so good. Can you give us some example which is not so good? Have you heard something called intellect addiction? What does it mean? Someone who is so addicted to the use of intellect that he or she is going to ignore anything else, right? And a lot of the kids growing up in Korea, South Korea, I mean, are so much addicted to intellect that they have to be hospitalized. Okay? And sometimes we're so impressed by the fact that, oh, I can do my Facebook while I'm doing my homework, so that while I'm doing my homework, whenever there is a Facebook message, I can also post to my Facebook, and then I can also have my dinner, I can also have several things together. Multitasking work. Okay? We always, later on we're going to show you a video called Digital Relations, and they're going to put things into perspective for you so that you can have a very interesting interpretation. And actually, if you go to day 1, there is something called Live 2.0. Have you watched that? Part 1 is just 1.5 minutes. But part 2 is actually an open rim thesis investigating life under the influence of web technology, and it's almost an hour-long video. Watch it. I can invite you to watch it. So before you come to your own conclusions of web technology, is it making your life easier? I think for inquiry-based learning, you need to gather some data. And the way to do it, very simple, is to observe. Read this, watch it, as it is a video, watch it, and watch some of these videos. It takes you not more than 1 hour before you can get some idea. And then when you come to reading this article, you have some data. That is what you observe. And then you can put what you observe into the perspective of analysis. What this new device have influenced my life, positively, negatively, what this new advice has influenced my life as a teacher, positively, negative. Positively, of course, in a big room, I do not need to shout. I can keep my voice soft as possible. But negatively, a lot of people will say, well, you lost your teaching voice in it. I say, no, I'm helping my throat better. People don't like microphone sometimes. But in a class like this, it's so good. But in a class of 400, 500, if you don't use a microphone, people cannot hear you, right? So there are some pros, the positive side, and the cons, the negative side. So in inquiry-based learning or even in active learning, we need to be objective enough. We collect data on what we want to interpret. And one thing, when I want you to think a little bit more about this question is, if you try to answer this question yourself, without going through some of these, you might be a little bit biased. You can study some of the phenomenon, and you can do that on your own. Okay, this is for week number 1. Let me come to week number 2. In week number 2, we introduced IBL, which is one class. When we come back on this Thursday, I would like you to spend some time at home watching these 2 documentaries. One is called Growing Up Online. The other is called Digital Nation. You just need to click the link and click on the videos there. It's 2 very famous documentaries produced by Public Broadcasting System in the United States. Okay? I will skip this call at this point, I'm sorry. Seems to be important. Yes. Right. Okay, all right. So, I'm sorry. This is important because my son just called me. He ran home, losing the key. So he's waiting in front of the house. It's okay, but sometimes because the second time they call, so I need to pick up the phone. I think if you look at my instruction here during class for this week, okay? I have invited you to do discussions. Is web technology making your life better? You can do the discussions in the public discussion forum after reading some of the things here. And there are some basic things that I would like you to also pay attention to beside the 2 documentaries I just recommend. This is an excellent BBC documentary called Technology of the Future. It's an excellent documentary because it was produced by a very famous physicist. Okay? They're going to give you a picture of what technology can bring you in this century, the 21st century. So do not miss that. Enjoy it, okay? You do not need to take a lot of books. Just watch it and put some thinking into it, okay? A lot of the things, if you put taking notes as the priority, you're doing an assignment for a teacher. But if you do it the other way, I'm doing inquiry-based learning, I'm trying to find out something more with the suggestion of my teacher. I know I have an obligation to write out some notes, but you still have some time, okay? You can always do that. When you have an interest to drive to the work, it's much easier. So I think I'm going to stop here today. Forgive me. Actually, in each class, I should have done it in 3 different sections. First, I'm going to talk. The second, you're going to talk. Okay? And the last one, I'm going to do some wrap-up. Because I have not seen some sign up for the call for sharing in the forum today. Remember, I'm always going to check if some students are going to respond to that. Remember, I said the call for student sharing. So I hope you're going to do some study next week, because in this coming Thursday, I'm going to give each one of you a chance, not more than 2 minutes, so you can stand up here, introduce yourself. Okay? So I would say that will be the sharing for individual students for this week. And it should be good enough. I have 23 students, so I'm going to use the second and the third of the hour and all to share. And it's very important by the end of this week, I hope you can name your learning partner. Okay? Most of you know one another, so I'm not worried much about that. But you need to have introductions of your own. So on first day, may I invite you to get ready for a 2 minute at most introductions of yourself. As to the questions that you need to answer, you go back to the before class activity for this week. Alright, so get ready for your 2 minute introduction on Thursday. Okay, I promise I'm not going to talk more than 15 minutes this Thursday. Alright, the less the teachers say, the more you're going to learn. Alright, let me take attendance for today. Alright, and then you can go. Where is the attendance for today? Zhao, Ting Yi. Zhao, are you here today? First one. Ting Yi? No. Kenneth is here. Sarah? Right? Thank you. Joseph? Are you here, Joseph? Okay. Chen Yin Chong. Chen, thank you. Kata, thank you. And then Joanna. Okay. Jefferson, thank you. Yoselin, thank you. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. Luffy, thank you. Francis, thank you. Shirley, thank you. Nico, thank you. Nana, thank you. Helen, thank you. Andy, thank you. Joanne, thank you. Winston, okay. Greg, yes. Kathy, thank you. Cersei, thank you. Because I need to learn how to pronounce the name right. Wendy, thank you, Ben. Thank you very much. Okay, I have some biscuit and squid. If you want to take it home, all right? So I try to give you something to eat every time. If not, forgive me. All right? See you on Thursday. Get ready for your not more than 2 minutes introduction in English. All right? All right, thank you. Observations, interpretation, application. You read something, you ask, what does it mean? always have this information. And then you can share that with your partner, and you can also see it. And so by the time you do the discussion, there's something and then you it's okay. No regulations. No regulations. Minimally, no regulations. How it depends on what the topic is. There's no regulations here, but normally when we're doing observations, we do it in point form. The journal is not necessarily a paragraph. We do it in point form. This will be thinking. And interpretation normally is sentences. And the sentences are in paragraph form, individually, one by one sentence. And when it comes to the application, you can do it in paragraph. Because application is going to have a summarize. So it's a very flexible way. Do not really button by that. When you do a journal, look at it. It could be just a keyword, it could be a subphrase, anything in your observation. Or in your interpretation, it could be one complete sentence. Normally, the sentence starts with the action verb. Interpret, analyze, what, or question, or why, when, where, what, who, how, or something. And then when it comes to the application, we try to put things together. So when I look at a journal, I look at you take the content from the material, and then you have the application, and then when it comes to the application, I have to try to put things together. Okay, and the reason continue asking questions using the documents online and that is your channel. Okay? It's up to you. But there is a textbook in the library or see what's the solution. I don't have time today to talk about textbook technology. Make sure my first step is it's very, very good. It's okay, that's it for today's class on day 2 CISG 114 section 1. Okay, today's day is February the 17th, 2014. Until first day, stay tuned.